Hey everyone, let me guess, you really want to find out what the tutorial boss drops, right? And you want to find it out for yourself. But, unfortunately, you're mediocre at the game, just like me. Well, guess what? What if you had a nice, juicy 100,000 souls Vigor, whatever you want to call it, to start off? That might even the playing fields, right? Give you a shot at actually beating the boss. Don't you worry, I got you covered. I have found the perfect early game farm just for you. So starting off, you just want to make your way through the tutorial like normal, right? And you just want to speed through it and unlock the vestige at the end. There is an important reason actually to just run through completely before you actually start the farm. And that is because one of the umbral returns, I forget what they're called, that you activate near the end after the ladder, actually has a little blockage, right? But then after the first time you activate it, it destroys that blockage, allowing you to run past it in subsequent farm runs. Meaning that you now have the whole tutorial area open to take advantage of the multiplier gained in Umbral form. So starting off, we're going to run back through to the Umbral area. So we're going to activate our Umbral form right here up to the ledge so that we can get over the hands. Then we're going to just run through this area, and we don't have to worry about the guy here. We just have to open the door and continue through. So you want to make your way all the way around to the little bone cage ramp. And the reason for that is you can see right now that the eye is actually closed, meaning our multiplier is stuck at 1. But as soon as we get to this ramp, the eyeball opens up and our multiplier goes to 1.1. This is the perfect area to now farm. All these enemies are weak and easy to deal with, right? If you don't have a right weapon, if you pick the condemn class like myself, you can even get the wooden cross that drops off the body in the little main area. But it is super easy to now just farm this area. You just run back and forth between the ramps and enemies will spawn. You can then deal with those enemies and you can start stacking up that multiplier. After about 5 minutes, the multiplier will go to 1.2. And then after about a minute and a half, it'll go from 1.2 all the way up to 2. And then you'll have about 30 seconds to take advantage of that ×2 multiplier before you hit 3, and of course summon the Reaper. Now, this is the perfect time to start backtracking and deal with the mobs that we left alive. So for instance, down here, there's 2 enemies, and we can now take advantage of that 3 times multiplier. And because the eye is closed, we don't have to worry about the Reaper in this area. There's also 3 of the crossmen waiting for us here. And then if you can make your way to the ladder and back around, you can actually take advantage of all the enemies in the main area. Although, do not worry, if you do die, your Vigor will spawn nice and lovingly just on this ledge right here. Meaning you can just farm the area until you die and then just run back because you now have the vestige. Now of course the other option is to make your way up the ladder once you're on that 3 times multiplier, and of course finish off all the enemies here in this main area. So we can get ahead and take care of the guy here on the ledge, come back through the gate and deal with the 3 other crossmen here, before heading downstairs to deal with the 3 other crossmen, the one just in the main area, and of course the 1 caster. Altogether, it nets about another 1500 Vigor, meaning that it is quite worthwhile to try and make your way up that ladder and take advantage of that 3 times multiplier. Now, from testing and farming for about an hour, we can see that I've gained 40,000 Vigor, meaning that it is roughly 40,000 Vigor an hour using this strategy. If you have a better weapon though, you can clear a lot more enemies and you can push that to probably closer to 50k, right? So if you start off with any of the better classes and are able to finish off enemies in 1 to 2 hits, right, you can then run around, spawn more enemies and deal with them quicker. The other thing that can also happen is you can get the Reaper stuck underneath the bone ramps. This allows you to capitalize on that 3 times multiplier in the farming area where all the little withered husks spawn. Now, with all those runes, Vigor, souls, whatever you want to call it, farmed up, you can go ahead and power level your guy and start to try and tackle the boss. Yeah, the boss is no joke. Even power leveled, as you can see, my character is level 42. It doesn't go so smoothly, right? We can easily deal with the first phase of the fight, if you will. As you can see, I'm doing quite decent damage, even with the wooden crosses, which aren't the greatest weapon. Now, the issue comes from the second phase, the actual true boss, of course, the Light Reaper. The reason for that is his defenses. Our physical damage is okay, but not great, especially in the perspective of how much HP the boss actually has, meaning that we have to spend a lot of time remembering and dodging correctly because we ourselves are not that tanky, right? Luckily, I am over-leveled to some degree. I have enough vitality to actually survive a lot of his hits, but generally speaking, you're really going to have to learn this fight. unless of course you go with a different class. Now, one other thing that you can utilize in this fight is you can actually make use of the little moths. If you are close to dying, you can go ahead and use the moth to teleport away back to the vestige, allowing you to re-attempt the boss without triggering the cutscene, meaning that you can do multiple attempts against the Light Reaper. Now, in terms of other classes, we run into another issue. So if we go with the Pyro Cultist, or whatever they're called, right, we now have a ranged spell, meaning that we can deal damage from afar. The issue is this boss is, well, fire attuned, if you will, meaning that our casts are not much better than the wooden crosses. Plus, then you chuck in the spear that we have, which is a little bit of a clunky weapon, and chances are, for the average player, this boss is still going to be quite difficult. So, what is the true best way to approach this boss? Well, you've probably seen it because almost every video I've looked at that actually deals with this boss, of course, picks the one true class, the Cleric, which not only has a range spell that is a bit better than lobbing fireballs because it goes in a straight line, your hammer also does holy damage, which is, of course, the weakness of this boss. As you can see, our spells are doing significantly more than our fireballs, and our hammer as well will do a chunk of damage. The hammer itself is quite a nice weapon, right? It's not too fast, not too slow, and it packs a heavy hit. Of course, you'll still have to memorize the fight, learn it, and attempt it over and over again if you are going to get this done. It is not an easy fight this early on, and as, you know, the sort of gimmicky tutorial boss, it's probably one of the hardest, right? So, if you're like me, the farming option is probably one of your best bets, as well as quite a lot of practice, because some of his combos, boy do they have tracking. Anyway, hope you enjoyed and hope it was helpful.